Lesley, you said you behave. You can't say that on the recording, Lesley.
I'm sorry.
Are you kidding me? We just went over this. Oh my God, Amateur Hour 2.0, Mike.
I start early.
I start early. This is why we don't have guests. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Hit List Podcast, the show where Pokemon nostalgia meets today's collecting culture. Today, we're going to go over with Jack and our special guest, Lesley. We're going to go over how the focus of Pokemon has changed over time, and we've been able to include a lot more feminine-minded people and be able to make this not just something for the boys, but this is for everybody. This is a collectible thing for everybody that we can go out and get something from each set that not just is a big battle scene, but maybe it's something a little cutesier, something for the girls, you know?
What's up, Lesley? Good to put a face to the mod.
Yeah, so Lesley, I think you have a great topic that you chose here today to talk about, incorporating women into collecting and the product shifting that they've been able to do, including the backpacks, not necessarily the figure collections, but especially the art. I think the art's come a long way, especially pretty much Radiant Collection on. There were clear cut, we're making cards specifically to cater to, women and the female eye here, with things like, specifically I've seen a lot of the tag teams with, like, there's a Lopunny and Jigglypuff. You've got the Igglybuff, Cleffa, and Togepi, I think. There's a lot of cute cards out there that we can use as examples.
What about Professor Thirsttrap?
Oh, God.
Oh, that's a good one.
That one was on purpose. I mean, just the whole creation of Turo.
Yeah, the Giga Chad.
They knew what they were doing.
Let's start with talking about, I think the best way to start about getting women into this hobby was the inclusion of Radiant Collection, and not just the art being specifically more cutesy and feminine, but having the charms on the left side of the card. I think that was pretty cool. I don't really remember what the function of those were, but it was just a really cool addition to have in there. And I've talked to quite a few, women that are in this hobby, and that seems to be something they really gravitate towards.
Yeah, I could see it. It's hard to say because the Radiant Collection kind of had that glow feel to it, right? Like, like you're describing. But I mean, I don't know. I never really paid attention to or wanted to dive into like what gender was more prevalent in the hobby, but I am curious about it because it is kind of an interesting topic. Lesley, what was it that like got you into Pokemon? What was it where you're like, man, I really want to collect some of these cards, and you decided to like jump in and start hanging out on streams and stuff?
The very first card I pulled was the Terapagos from Stellar Crown. It was the very first pack I ever opened, and I did it because the husband and the kid did it. And he was like, here, you're not going to pull anything out of this. Open this one. And I pulled it. And I was like, okay, I want more. I want more cute cards like this. And then we went to Evolving Skies, and I pulled the Moonbreon. And I was like, okay, this is a really cute card with the purple and the blue. And that's what got me started in it. And I started looking more at the cards, and there were a lot of pinks and a lot of purples and a lot of cute little animals, like the Lillipup from White Flare is a really cute one that I like. And that's what got me interested in it. And then it was mastering the sets. I want all of the cards, and I want all of the cute cards in my personal collection.
What's interesting is I didn't even think about Stellar Crown by itself, but there are a lot of cute cards in Stellar Crown.
Mm-hmm.
The Dash one is one that comes up to mind for me for sure. That
Donut Dog.
The Donut Dog. That one is such a cool card in general, but
there were like a lot of Pokemon themed around food from Stellar Crown.
Yeah.
Like Alchemy or Milcery or whatever. Yeah, and then Janine was Surging Sparks, wasn't it? Like stuffing her face with a sandwich.
That was Surging Sparks, yeah. There's Gulpin with the food.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the Gulpin.
So Lesley, you were more... Oh, go ahead, Mike.
It's just that was not a set I really had on my radar, but now that I look back at it, absolutely, that was one that I remember talking to Caitlin very early, and she was mentioning a lot of cards that she really liked from that set and how she was really enjoying that set. I don't know if Surging Sparks followed it up quite as well to be cutesy, but it had some good ones. Of course, Leslie's favorite card ever is in that. But yeah, I didn't think about Evolving Skies either, but that's an interesting jump you took there to pull the top chase from Stellar Crown and say, I'm going to try another set, and pull the top chase from the era right after it.
Yeah, it's interesting because Lesley, you said that it was Stellar Crown, which is obviously a more recent set. So you probably weren't even really around during Radiant Collection and stuff like that. But again, like Radiant Collection was probably more during the 80-20 era, like Mike was talking about, versus the 60-40 that we're at now, and maybe potentially 50-50 at this point. But I think regardless of who you are or gender or anything like that, I think just the dopamine of pulling like a giant chase from any set just is like a trigger, like I want to do this again, and that's how they get you, right?
Right.
So yeah, it is kind of interesting though that it was Stellar Crown more recently that they got you pulled in. So when you went to just pick up a random pack, where you were just like walking around the Walmart or something, and you're just like your husband was like, let's grab one of these and open it?
Yeah, we went to Target, and that was back when there was still a little product on the shelf, and it was one of those Charizard cubes with the figure in it, and he picked one of those up, and we were sitting in the car opening, and he gave me a Stellar Crown, and he was like, you're not going to pull anything out of this. There's really not much in this set, so you can open it. And I opened it, and the Terapagos, and I didn't know what it was. I had no idea, and he's like, that's like the top hit out of this set. And I was like, I don't know. And of course, he's like, oh, we got to sleeve it and top load it. And I'm like, I don't know what any of that means. I had no idea what I was doing. And he's like, no, you can't lay it down. You can't scratch it. Fingerprints, we're going to grade it. And I'm like, what? So it was a whole new world for me that I'd never been into. I mean, my kid collected, sure, but he wasn't an avid collector. He played more than anything with the kids in the neighborhood. So we were never really collectors. And then we started with, I guess, when it kind of blew up a little bit here in the last couple of years, and it got me into it. And now I'm hooked.
Was that first big pull, was that an instant switch that flipped in your head? Was it, oh, I need more right now, like it happened to us as well? Because, I mean, that's kind of the story how we all got there, was eventually something happened like that. But for it to happen right away, was that an immediate switch that you're like, yeah, I like this?
Yeah, kind of. Like I see the pretty colors and I'm like, ooh, it's shiny. I want more. And I open more packs to see if I can get that feeling again. And I mean, the hit rates, hit or miss with some packs. So when I don't hit, I'm like, okay, well, I'll go buy another little bundle or collection and see what I can get out of that. And then it just escalates from there.
So is it something like you went and shared with your friends and you were like, oh my God, guys, look what I did with the family this weekend. And then like your friends started wanting to open cards too? Or is it still just you that does it and they're just kind of like whatever about it? Or
I did not do that with the Terapagos, but I did with the Moonbryon. I did post it, but nobody had any idea what we were talking about or what it was. Like they had no idea, oh, hey, this card right here alone is a $1,200 card. Yeah. And if you send it off to grading, it can potentially be upwards of $2,500, $3,000. No, but none of my friends know that. My friends are not collectors like that. But if I were to show Ty's friends, yeah, they would know. They'd say, oh, wow, that's a massive hit. That's a massive pull. That's top chase out of probably that set in that era.
Yeah, and I think I think that has to go back to how we were conditioned growing up to being exposed to this, whether it be the movies, the card game, the TV show. It was 100% marketed toward men or boys at the time. It's interesting to see now with the new show coming out with Horizons being out, the main character is female for the first time. Of course, this is the first time it's not Ash, but the focus there on being a girl going through this. I mean, there's a boy with Roy as well, but the main character is definitely Liko. I think that was also another direct point that they did to draw more girls in at a young age. I think that's a good idea, but what I've found is a lot of people that have been into this for a long time end up showing their significant others, very, very similar to what you had going on, and something about it draws them in. And I don't know if, like you said, it's the colors of the cute cards or if it's just something that's for everybody, but the move toward gender neutral and shifting the focus to be able to be a little bit of something for everyone is massive. One of the other things that we had talked about was there's a lot of products coming out that are more geared toward women. We've seen the Eevee backpacks. We've seen figure collections. We've seen in China, we have it's not really geared toward women per se, but it's definitely not something a boy would think about, is the ID card holders that you can wear on a lanyard. Different things like that. What are some of the things that you've found that worked? These new products that are out there that are hitting the mark.
I mean, I don't have the Eevee backpack, but I have the Eevee, the little pouch. Mm-hmm. And I think that's adorable. Like, I mean, I don't use it for Pokemon or in like the deck holder because I don't play, but I use them for other stuff. Like my Eevee deck holder is sitting on my bathroom counter for makeup. Not exactly what it's intended for, but it's cute. And I personally, I love the figure collections. With the Iono's Belly Bolt box, I snagged every set that I could, especially like Miss Magius was my favorite. But I love the little acrylic figures that you can just put in the stand and display on your desk or on your shelf. That's my favorite. I love that.
Yeah, I think that's something that, personally, as somebody who didn't really see much about that, for me, it was kind of like, oh, we get a fluffy Eevee bag or a fluffy Eevee deck or a figure collection. What am I doing with these? But that's part of what I'm getting at, is there are, this whole group of women that are like, this is cute. I can display this on my bookcase. The amount of women I've seen on TikTok and Instagram and whatnot showing off their binder pages, of making a cute binder page that all works together. I'm going to go with 99% of men weren't the ones that thought of doing that. I'm not that coordinated. I throw stuff together that looks like it's good together, but what some of these women have done is incredible, and has even inspired me to do that myself.
My personal collection, it's if you flip through it, besides artwork that I've collected from Jack, it's all pinks and blues and purples, and those are predominantly considered girl colors, and they're soft cards. They're not the harsh, manly, aggressive looking cards like we have. And like that's my binder. It's all pinks and purples, and it's the cute, adorable cards. But you look at my husband's binder, his are nothing like that. It's the complete opposite. His are a lot of dark colors and a lot of cards that he thinks are cool looking, but not what I view as cute as a girl.
A really interesting point that you can see in one set right now is the Mega Evolution, the top two SAR chases in that set, being Lucario and Gardevoir, being completely different art styles and geared completely differently. And that's kind of what you're talking about, how Lucario is in the middle of a battle, flying through the sky against a flying Venusaur. And Gardevoir just kind of, it looks like something, just a true piece of art you'd have on the wall, just showing the full evolution line. And like you said, more soft tones. There's no battle going on. It's just a portrait, a beautiful portrait. And I would say, like you were saying, how the male binder is more aggressive rather than it being a soft, focused on the Pokemon and the colors. We're starting to see those cards that aren't the big action cards being cards that people are searching after. So that's very interesting as well. That's a really good point there.
Well, it's kind of like if you look at Battle Partners, for example. Like, I loved Battle Partners and Journey Together. but it's also got kind of more of girly tones with the Maractus and the Clefairy and all those cards. But Destined Rivals, on the other hand, it has the darker, battle cards, as you called them. Mm-hmm. And I feel like Battle Partners and Journey Together was more of a girly set, and Destined Rivals was the manly side of it. And it's two very different art styles and two different appeals. And I know a lot of guys that I talked to did not like Journey Together. Yeah, and then a lot of the girls don't care anything for Destined Rivals.
That's a really good point. I definitely saw that. I feel as if even the prices did show that as well. I know Jack and I have talked about how very different the sets were, even though they were both, trainer style Pokemon. They were very, very different, where you're looking, like you said, Jack's favorite card from Journey Together, I don't know if you knew this, was Maractus.
Okay, so it's the Troll Jack show now, huh? That's how we're doing this? Yeah? Where's the mind mask, Lesley?
Look, you'd be so proud. My kids destroyed that within seconds of me leaving the video last time.
Raised them right.
Seconds, it was gone.
Raised them right. Well done. I want to go back real quick. You said that like you had an EV deck box that you got and like the pouch for your dice or whatever, but you don't play. It has like collecting. Have you considered ever going to pre-releases or like starting to play now that you've been collecting for as long as you have? Is it like you want to take that next step into the hobby where you can kind of like get more usage out of the cards that are bulk or cards that you may not care about as much?
I've thought about it. I know like Mike's asked me to play a couple of times and even just online, but I don't have any local card shops here. My local shop is probably 45 minutes away. So it makes it a little more difficult to actually get out there and find somewhere to play.
Gotcha. Dang, that's unfortunate. I was curious though.
Yeah, when I was doing some research for this episode, one of the things I noticed, and it was an article that was out that said that there has never been a female champion in the TCG. Not a single one. So the point that you brought up there of could collecting lead to playing is honestly a big topic for the TCG itself, the game, not the collecting side of it, but the game, because there isn't a champion that's been female. Jack, from what you've seen at pre-releases, is there a decent amount of women that have been showing up to the ones you go to? I know for mine, I'd say it's probably 10 to 15% women. They're there, but not many.
I'd say it's about 40% at the ones I go to. I've seen a lot more over the last year and a half to 2 years than before. It used to just be like you said, like maybe one or two would show up, but recently I've seen a lot more, and a lot of the times they don't really know how to play, but they are like a lot of them. So a lot of them will show up with their kids, right? Mm-hmm. Because their kids want to get into the pre-release and see the new cards and stuff, but then like they will learn something from someone else, and then they'll be teaching their kids what they've learned, and then their kids get excited, and it's just like this wholesome like all-around engagement thing with the family. But to what you asked, I would say definitely like a 40-60 split more often now than it ever was before, which I think is awesome. And hopefully continues. And I do think it's leaning more towards into the 50-50 range at this point, which, again, is just an awesome thing to see.
Yeah, I think that the more family dynamic of it is, as you said, what's kind of driving this. But one of the things I've noticed is at my local shop, there's a couple younger, we're talking elementary, middle school girls that are playing, which I think is a very good improvement, and that's a very good sign for the future of women in Pokemon. Lesley, if you had a shop nearby, do you feel like you would actually, try and go and play the game? Do you think being in person would make you feel more confident, or do you think the trying online would be something that you would be more into? I'm not telling you to make a generalization for all women, but it's just something I'm curious about from the female mind.
I think I would feel more comfortable learning online. I feel like I would get more of a guide, of a tutorial, and kind of work at my own pace. But then again, if I go in person, sometimes it's easier to learn on a visual, hands-on experience. But I mean, it doesn't really fit into my schedule right now, so it makes it hard. But I mean, maybe when the boys are a little bit older and we have a free Friday night, I can, check around. And I mean, 45 minutes isn't a terrible drive, but when you're talking a 7 o'clock start time going into potentially 10 o'clock, it's not easy to do with 2 little boys. But I mean, I do see families, when I do visit those card shops, I do see families with young kids getting into the hobby. But I think I would prefer learning online, and I've tried, and it's just not something that clicks with me, honestly.
Yeah, it's one of those I've told people, the TCG isn't for everyone. That's totally fine. I appreciate anybody who tries. It's interesting to see the different dynamic of different types of people that play, whether it be male, female, cool, nerdy, whatever. It's all over the place. One of the other things that I've noticed is, as somebody who goes to a lot of card shows and different events like that, the amount of women that are looking for cards there. Now that's where it's been a big increase for me, where I've seen, as Jack has said, where he's seeing 50-50. That's where I really do see the 50-50. And it's not just looking for the singles, which we're going to go through some singles that Lesley's picked. We'll call them Lesley's picks. But one of the other things I've seen at these shows is custom cards and custom products being done by Etsy creators and other women that are out there just using their creative flow to make something new. You've been to a card show, right, Lesley?
Yes.
Have you noticed any female vendors selling things like custom cards and other different products that they've made?
I have. I do have a few that I've purchased from. It was actually a girl that I met in one of the streams that I follow. She does custom cards, and I do have quite a few of them, and they're adorable. Like, I've got, it plays off the Bubble Mew, but it's a sleeping Pikachu in a bubble. And I've got a lot of cute cards like that. But I do see, I've been to Collecticon a couple of times, and I do see a lot of these female vendors with their products laid out that are completely customized and cute and geared more towards the women.
Yeah, and for them to be able to do that, there has to be a big interest in that. You're not going to just start creating products
right
without that interest.
Oh, I think it's more affordable too. Because I mean, it's not like Pokemon Center doesn't have a male and female section for their clothing items and stuff. Pokemon Center's got plenty of products geared more towards women and men. But you probably at card shows and stuff, you can find it for a pretty good price. They can work with you, especially if you bring cash to a card show. I've talked about that before. It's the best way to go because a lot of people will work with you, and then you can kind of negotiate pricing and stuff. But what I find really interesting is that 80% of the Etsy cards they make out there are better than the ones Pokemon puts out. Mm-hmm. Half the time, I'd rather see those as the SIRs than what they put out. It's kind of crazy to see. But yeah, to your point, they're definitely coming out of the woodwork more, which is awesome. And it's awesome that they found good avenues and lanes that they can kind of let their products shine and stuff.
Absolutely. One of the things I've seen also, not necessarily different SARs or art rares or anything like that, but we've talked about how Japanese has some really cool reverse hollow patterns and things like that. These women who are making their custom cards, and men who are making the custom cards too, but these Etsy creators that are out there doing this are putting whatever kind of hollow on it they want. And there's some pretty cool stuff out there that I've seen that's wow, this is actually really cool, whether they're, like we've said, doing their own kind of thing, but some of them are just simply TCG pocket cards that have been printed with a heart foil pattern on it, or stars or something like that.
My sister's super into those ones that cut multiple cards out and make them into 3D cards with the layering. She's really into that right now. So when she does her artwork and stuff, she tries to do it the same way. She doesn't make cards, but she does her own drawings and stuff. but she'll try and like cut them out and layer them. And she's doing this cool thing now where she'll like paint it one color and then she'll go back through with like this black light paint. So when the lights are off, it's a different color, like a shiny. And then when she turns the lights on, it's like the regular color. It's like a black light that only works when the lights are off. It's pretty cool.
That's really awesome. Your sister has her own form of luck when it comes to pulling cards too.
Yeah. I don't know where she gets it. Can't think of anybody else who's pulled a God pack.
Yeah, there's there's also that whole theory out there of the girlfriend theory of let your girl open up packs and they pull a chase card. Lesley's a living testament to it, but it seems to be a real thing. There is some form of luck. So, anybody who has a boyfriend, steal his packs, go open them, and then don't even give him the cards. Keep them for yourself. Start collecting. Start your own binder.
That's what Lesley does. Whenever I ship Ty his stuff, she just like finds his box and rips all the cards she wants out of it. Keeps them for herself.
I do. I check the mail, and if it comes through and it's a cute card, it's yanked.
That's another thing. So, along with the girlfriend theory here, I have noticed that women are picking the bulk cards that we don't even look at and saying, "Ooh, this is cute. I really like this," and they're appreciating those too. We've talked about so many times of appreciating all the art you get. That is a whole other part of this that's starting to really come through, is some of the art of these non-full art versions are starting to get appreciated as well.
Yeah, Mike, you were just talking about like V's, what was it, like a week or two ago, about how the V card artwork is underappreciated. I had several people, male and female, come into my store last week, and they were just looking for the V's because they were by a specific artist, and they collected that artist. Like one was Mitsuhiro Rita's Lugia from Silver Tempest. The other was the Akira Igawa Ho-Oh. Just regular V's, and that's all they wanted. And they came in, dropped like $10, picked up like 10 V cards, and then went home. Yeah,
and it even goes beyond that to just regular commons and uncommons, of getting the appreciation for those. I know in the article that I sent you guys, there was an article that I sent all of us here. It was Naomi Saito and Akira Igawa talking, and it was interesting to see how they picked each other's art and talked about it, and they were appreciating the just regular uncommons and commons that they did. For example, they talked about Akira Igawa's Ninetales, which is just a regular uncommon card, but when you look at it, Ninetales is standing on a mountain overlooking a city with all the lights. It is absolutely a stunning card. One of those that, I kind of wish we could get some kind of full art version, even if it wasn't a card, just a piece of art that we could buy. But that's another thing that just gets just looked over by, a lot of traditional players, where if it's not playable and it's not valuable, a lot of people don't care.
Something I found really interesting about that article was that they said Pokemon gives them like the direction for what they want done. Like I think they said it was like make an artwork for a day in the life of a specific Pokemon, and it was Ninetales living over the city, living for thousands of years, seeing it grow and change or whatever for Igawa. And for Saito, it was Glaceon from Crown Zenith sitting on the picnic table out in the snowy park or whatever, right? And so yeah, they went back and forth about what they liked the most about each other's artwork and everything else. And I just thought it was really interesting that I didn't realize Pokemon gave them direction on what they wanted done. I thought it was just like, hey, this is going to be an SIR for this set. Give me a Mewtwo artwork for this set and go. Versus like, so now when I go back and look at these SIRs that already released, the first thing I'm thinking is, okay, what was Pokemon aiming to do with this card? Like, for instance, Giovanni's Mewtwo, were they like, all right, give me a Mewtwo in the city, look at me with Giovanni? Did they tell them to do that? Or was the artist like, okay, this is what I vibed with. Is this okay, Pokemon? And Pokemon says, yeah, that's about what we want or not. So it's interesting to me just to kind of see the whole inner workings of how the artwork's decided, how I also really would be curious to do more research on who gets picked to do what artwork and what the basis is on that. Like we talked about with Don Chow popping off these last 3 sets, right?
Right.
So yeah, I found that part really interesting in particular.
Lesley, do you feel as if there's any artist that you have realized over time that you vibe with? Just typically when you see, oh, this artist is putting something out, it's one of those, I already know I'm going to like this card, or is it more, come and go basis?
You can't say me, Lesley. You can't say me.
Oh, come on. I have more of your cards in my collection than anything. No, before Jack, I knew nothing about the artist. I paid no attention. It was just, oh, this is cute. Did not even notice who the artist was until Jack. I joined his streams, and it was every day was an art lesson. I would learn something new every day. And there are a few artists, like, honestly, the Shrouded James Turner line with I love those.
James Turner, yeah.
Like, I love the non-connecting lines that you don't see in normal art.
Yeah.
And I
love
think
that you
really
said that.
Different.
That's awesome. I love that you said that, because that's something we talked about, remember?
Mm-hmm.
The difference between Osair and like Jerky and James Turner is James Turner's lines don't connect, and you can see that when you look closely enough at the dust storms. Mm-hmm. That's awesome, Lesley. Let's go. Yay. I'm so proud of you, my little Padawan.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody knows how much you love Shrouded Fable.
Just a little.
Yeah. What's interesting is when you were also saying how Pokemon directs the artists, it almost feels as if they also direct the sets as well, where you start to see certain sets like Shrouded Fable have almost a full theme to them, where it's obviously a darker theme. Mm-hmm. When I'm thinking of Shrouded Fable, there's only a couple cards that I'm thinking of that don't really fit that kind of dark feel to it. And the three that I'm thinking of off rip here are Fracture, Horsey, and Cresselia, where they're not darker cards, but somehow they still fit. It's brilliant and it works, but it's when I read that, one of the things that I thought was, wow, they're really able to keep this idea going, even though these are a bunch of different artists working at the same time, probably not with a lot of contact to each other, putting out art, and it still works very well. One of the things you also mentioned, Lesley, was how you really appreciated certain sets like Journey Together, Battle Partners. Of the recent sets that have come out, we know you love Shrouded Fable, but what are your top 5, we'll say, it's sets that are out right now that have the cutest cards, that have the best form of art that is working for your binder?
I have a lot of Shrouded in my personal collection. Stellar's another one that I have a lot of. Let's see, what else? I have a lot of Journey Together.
How did you feel about White Flare and Black Bolt?
I liked the White Flare side of it more, I think.
Okay.
I think, and that honestly could be just certain cards from White Flare that drew me more, like the Lily Pup when he's standing at the door with the little baseball cap in his mouth. So adorable. But I think White Flare over Black Bolt for me. But it also could be I've hit better out of White Flare. So maybe I'm a little bit more biased towards White Flare than Black Bolt, because I don't think I've pulled anything good out of Black Bolt. I could be wrong, but I don't think I've pulled anything good. So it just kind of makes me not like that set a little bit more than I would normally. Stellar, Shrouded, Crown Z is another good one that I like. I think there's a lot of cute cards in that. I think that's only 4, but I can't think.
I mean, you can probably count Shrouded Fables like 5 for yourself, but
I have so much Shrouded.
What's interesting to me is one of the most popular sets out there is, well, the 2 most popular sets out there right now are probably, if you talk to somebody and say, man, I'd really like a pack of that, it's Prismatic Evolution and Evolving Skies, which are evolution sets. Both of them, 2 of the main big cards in them are Sylveon, mm-hmm. which I feel as if Sylveon was kind of created toward, feminine thinkers.
Oh, for sure.
So what were your thoughts on the top cards in both of those sets. All of them pretty much being evolutions, and if they're not, I mean, we're looking at one of the top cards for Evolving Skies is the Dragonite, which, I mean, that's kind of a cute card as well.
Okay, unpopular opinion here, but I'm not an evolution fan. Like, there are some cards that I like. Like, there's a Dark Sylveon card that I like for, if you saw the card, you would know why. It's pink, it's cute, it's in the binder. Yeah, Jack knows. There's a few Umbreon cards I like. There's the Glaceon from Crown is one of my favorites. But overall, I'm not a huge evolution fan. I think it's kind of overrated. Maybe not overrated, but overplayed. Like, I think the hype is bigger than what it should be. It's just, there's not a lot out there that impresses me personally. There are a few, so it's not generally speaking as a whole, but there are a few cards out there that I like. But overall, I'm not a big fan of. So the Prismatic was not appealing to me. It was super hard to find, super hard pull rate. So that also did not appeal to me. Evolving Skies was really before I got into it. The only Evolving Skies I've opened, I think I got out of clearance 10s from Walmart on like Black Friday last year. And that's when I pulled the Moonbreon. And I think the 10s were like $15 on sale or something like that. But Evolving Skies was really before I got into collecting. And like I said, Prismatic, I did nothing with Prismatic. I think I've opened less than 50 packs total of Prismatic. It's hard to find.
You've saved yourself a lot of pain.
Yeah. I mean, it's dramatic evolutions. Like, I see energy breaks and I see people opening it on stream and the hit rates are awful. And it's just so sad sometimes.
So what set would you say you get like really hyped up about? Like with me, it was the Team Rocket set, right? Like that was my Prismatic, was Team Rocket, because I knew I was getting the Mewtwo SAR. Like a lot of people are really hyped up about this Charizard dropping this week, right? Because it's a Zard and people get excited about Zard. So what would it take for you to be like just over the moon? Like, I cannot wait for the set to drop. I'm buying 8 cases of this when it falls. Not that you're ever buying 8 cases, but you know what I mean.
I've not bought any Inferno yet, but I have pre-ordered some Phantasmal. I want the Miss Magius card so bad.
Okay, that tracks, yeah.
And the Piplup. I do have the Piplup in Japanese from Inferno. I had a good friend bring that home from Japan for me. And the Miss Magius is my top chase from that card. And I've told my kid, I've pre-ordered the Charizard UPC, the booster box, the ETBs, the bundles. I've pre-ordered everything. And they're all going to my kid for Christmas. But I said, if you get the Miss Magius, it's mine. Like,
fair is fair. Fair is fair. I paid Santa, so you owe me.
Mm-hmm. I'm like, these are my Christmas gifts to you. I have no interest in this set or mastering it, but I want that card. It's just a simple full art. It's not even an SIR. It's not the top chase. I have no interest in the Charizard card.
The pull rates seem really similar to Mega Evolution, so I think there's going to be plenty of Miss Magius to go around. I think a lot of these cards, which we talked about last week, a lot of these cards are going to be much easier to get than people think, and I'm standing by it. The shot I took last week, that Zard is going to end up being like a $80 to $100 card max and settle right there, because there's going to be millions of them floating around. There's only 5 SIRs in the whole set.
Mm-hmm.
That's a case of booster boxes gets you half the SIRs in the set. There's just no way that card isn't going to circulate enough. Now, the gold Charizard, I don't know. Right now, the SIR is pre-selling for, I think, like $500 more than the gold card. Which, again, guys, don't buy pre-sale cards.
No,
do not do it.
It's going to tank as soon as it releases.
Exactly. So we could easily see that flip-flop into the gold being like the big chase. So I don't want to get off on a tangent on Phantasmal because we already covered it. But that to me is the only difference with Obsidian Flames and Phantasmal is that gold Charizard keeping that set afloat and people trying to chase down that card and pull it. But I think it's awesome to see that for you in particular, and I'm sure plenty of other people, it's all about the Miss Magius. The Zard can kick rocks. I just want the card that I mess with, and that's the way it should always be. So I'm really happy to hear that from you, especially because we've known each other for quite a while now. So that's awesome to hear. I'm really excited for that for you.
No, that definitely brings back a lot of, and that was a great answer of, it's not necessarily the set, it's the card that makes me want to go get it. So I know for a fact Dalton's also very interested in Phantasmal Flames because of the Piplup.
I put one at pre-release, and I'm lording it over him.
I'm sure he loves you for that. But yeah, that really brings it back to the roots of you collect what you really like. So going for an entire set isn't necessarily what makes you want a set. It's a couple cards in it. You wait for it, you go get them, and you enjoy them and add them to your binder. Speaking of, you have a list of Lesley's picks of some of your favorite cutesy girly cards. What are your favorite cutesy girly cards? And let's see if they match with anything that we like. And
there's a mime on this list. I'm leaving the stream right immediately. Like, you'll just see me go blank. I just want you to know. Don't do it. I see you side-eyeing me, Lesley. Don't do it.
No, there's no mime. I mean, the mime cards are great to give you a hard time with, but I'm actually not really a fan of any of the mime cards. I mean,
I knew it.
There's the one from 151, but that's the only.
I actually kind of like that mime card.
Non-common, right?
I don't like mime, but I actually thought that card was really cool. Just playing chess in the park. I thought it was really cool. It's by an artist I really like, and an artist Jack really likes, which bothers him a lot. I know it.
Yeah, what happened to Okacheke, dude?
I don't know.
Okacheke come up, since Laladios from Surging?
I mean, they've had some small cards, but yeah, there's not been a big one for them.
Yeah, sorry I hijacked the segment. Lesley, what you got? What's your picks?
I think one of my favorite lines is the Tinkaton line from Paldea. Those are very girly with the pinks and the purples. Anything Clefairy. I have a few Clefairy cards stuck to my refrigerator, and Clefable, similar to the Jigglypuff, the big cute pink ball. I love the crochet cards. The very first one I saw was the Snorlax.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
And I love those. They look so realistic, but they're just art. Like, they're just drawn cards. Another one that I really like, and I've never seen in person, is the Sylveon from Prismatic.
Mm-hmm.
That one's one of my favorite ones that I've seen. And I'm not a fan of Prismatic. I'm not a fan of the Evolutions, but that one is really cute and really girly, and I love it. And I've never even seen it in person. Maybe I've seen it at a card show.
Yeah, it's a good one. You know, it's an underrated evolution card from Prismatic is a Glaceon. When you see that thing in person, that thing freaking pops, dude. The shine on that is insane. But yeah,
it's not a very
always different in person.
Yeah.
Glaceon's not a very busy card, but it is beautiful in its own right. It almost feels like it's almost like
pops,
glass.
Dude. Yeah, exactly. It's a perfect description word for it. It's like glass. Like the way it just like the light reflects off it is just insane. It pops hard. Super underrated.
I feel that way about the Gardevoir from Silver Tempest, the trainer gallery, I think is what it is. I love that card, and I got it in Japanese and I got it in English, and I bought it slabbed. I bought a PSA 10 version of it because I love the card, and the way it shines in Japanese is so different than the English. And that's another
Kirigawa, right?
Girly card I like. Yeah. Right?
That's true. Yeah. Which, and we don't talk enough about the difference with Japanese texturing to English is insane. But yeah, no, that's a great pick too. And it just goes back to what we mentioned earlier. I just love to hear that you're collecting things that you like just because they're things that you like and that you want in your collection, and you got a PSA 10 of it, and that's freaking awesome. I love that.
They are the most random cards in my collection. Like, there's no rhyme or reason. It's just, hey, that's really cute. That has a lot of pink in it. Or that one's so girly, and I love it. That's what I collect. There's no rhyme or reason at all to what I collect.
Well, that's the way it should be, yeah.
There's one binder that does.
Well, okay, that's an exception. That's a specialty set.
That's a specialty set.
Isn't that what we call Crown? It's a specialty set.
No booster boxes of that set.
Nope.
one of the ones you had on the list here is one that I consistently forget about. It's the Galarian Rapidash from Chilling Reign.
Oh, the one, like, it looks like a unicorn. Yeah, with the purple and the blues.
I'm not entirely sure who did that, but that is that's one that I would honestly like to have in Japanese, just because I know the texturing on it is probably absolutely insane. What you actually had on here, how do you feel about that one versus the Rapidash from Destined Rivals, the art rare?
Well, it's like I was saying earlier, the one from Chilling Reign is a lot more soft. It looks quiet and it looks girly and calm. But then you have the Rapidash from Destined Rivals, and it's got a lot of orange and the bold yellow and the reds in it, and it just looks more harsh. I mean, it's still a cutesy looking unicorn. I don't even know if it's a unicorn, but I'm calling it a unicorn.
It's kind of a unicorn. The Galarian Rapidash from Chilling Reign, by the way, is by Sui, who also did the Espeon from Prismatic. For reference there. Yeah. But yeah, I would agree with you, Lesley. The Destined Rivals one is a lot more harsh, is a good way to put it. More braving the elements, versus the Galarian Rapidash, which looks like something from like out of Avatar. Like it's just chilling on one of those weird planets with all the colorful fauna. Yeah.
One of the other things you mentioned was your love for, Jigglypuff. How do you feel about the Jiggly Wiggly from, I guess it would be Phantasmal Flames coming out, or Inferno X?
You mean Wiggles looking tough?
Wiggles looking tough.
I'm pretty sure I have that one in my personal collection downstairs. We pulled it in Inferno X, and I'm pretty sure I have it.
Yeah, that's
one of the ones I stole.
So for this week, every week we do our Artist of the Week, and actually I picked this one, which is a little off topic, but this week we're going to talk about Dom. So Dom is one I recently have started paying a little bit more attention to. Dom has had quite a few cards through the years. One of my favorites is the Deoxys V-Star from Crown Zenith. Was one of those that I didn't even realize was Dom until recently, but a lot of you might know Dom from Journey Together's Hops Zacian SAR. So I remember when we started getting the leaks for Battle Partners, which is Journey Together in Japanese, Jack and I were talking about, wow, Dom really killed it with this brushstroke style art, which you don't really see all the time from Dom. But one of the things I like so much about Dom is a lot of their art has kind of it's the same feel to it, but there's different art styles incorporated in. I'm sure, Jack, you can talk about a lot of the different styles that they've used, but the brushstroke that was used on the Hop Zacian is not a consistent theme for Dom, but the feel of the card still is.
Yeah, it's interesting because Dom, not to like pigeonhole Dom into one thing or another, but Dom seems to do a lot of SIR trainer cards. They don't get a lot of Pokemon cards. They did Grusha from Paldea Evolved. They did Gita, one of my personal favorites from Obsidian. I think that card's super underrated. Beautiful card. That one kind of has some of the brushstroke tendencies of the Zacian. But they also did the Eerie from Temporal Forces.
Drayton.
And Drayton from Surging Sparks, and Briar from Stellar Crown. So a lot of trainer SIRs from Dom. Briar has a little bit of that brushstroke too, but just not in the same prevalence that you see it in the Zacian style artwork. But it's always interesting to see when any of these artists kind of go off the beaten path and do something different. Jerky is one that does that a lot. Right. So yeah, it's kind of cool to see Dom evolve and grow and try new things as the sets keep releasing.
One of the things that I appreciate is the amount of detail and time that these artists are putting into the trainer cards. I understand that pretty much all of the trainer cards, at least in English, are not the chase. But when we're talking about, for example, Briar, I think Briar, especially in the Japanese print with the texture, is an absolutely unbelievable card. Same with Airy, and honestly, same with Drayton too. I think Drayton just hanging out in the store grabbing some snacks is pretty cool. But these trainer cards that have beautiful art on them, I think, are something that is just been overlooked for almost too long. I think that personally, I think the Scarlet and Violet era took what I'm talking about here with the trainer cards being so good to a different level. But I mean, they seem to be continuing this into the Mega era. Who did Dawn, by the way, from Inferno?
Kurosawa.
Why has it got to be Furusawa every time?
Same artist that did the Ho-Oh from Distant Rivals.
But yeah, that card's unbelievable as well. But
yeah, very, very pretty card. A lot of detail into that card. Definitely gives like heavy Ethan's Ho-Oh vibes. They almost look like they could connect, honestly. Even though they don't. They don't. Don't get excited, guys. But yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely going back to like the trainer SARs. It's interesting too because, man, sometimes I like the full art trainers more than the SIRs. Erie's a good example of that. I did not really care for the Erie SIR looking all raged out and crashing out. I really like the full art one with like the leaves falling behind Erie and like the fall vibe to it. Like I really prefer that full art to the SIR. But I mean, that's the great thing about it, right? Like, I know a lot of people who freaking love that Erie SIR, and that's their favorite SIR from the set. I mean, but it's to each their own, and collect what you like Miss Magus and other fun cards that just, fall in your wheelhouse. Outside of that, I agree as well that there's a lot of overlook on trainers in general, which is interesting because it used to be like Lily and Marnie and like those. What's the other one? Lucamine. That was like a big one for a while. Like some of them are very expensive and hard to get, but recently, no, I mean like the top SIR chase for trainers in particular from each set you can get for like $30 max.
Right. Yeah, I know like Lisia's appeal from Surging Sparks was up there for a little bit, but it dropped to a reasonable price as well. That's another good question I have for you, Lesley. Do you feel as if trainer cards are something you look for, or do you look more for the Pokemon in general?
I mean, it depends. There are some trainer cards that I do like. Like, I'm a big fan of the Lily from the Mega set. Eli pulled the full art last night, but I love the SIR. We actually have it in Japanese, or we had it. I think we sold it, but I mean, some of the trainer cards are girly and cute, and I like. But I mean, I think people aim for trainers more for the playable aspect of it, and I don't play, so I mean that means nothing to me.
Right. Yeah, I just didn't know if the art style for the full arts and the SARs, which is an interesting point you brought up, Jack, with some of the full arts being very good, is yes, it's playable, but yes, we get two very good arts typically for each trainer. That's one of the things I actually like a lot, is you don't see trainer full arts, not SARs, full arts being done by companies like 5-Band Graphics. They're always done by an actual artist who takes quite a bit of time in it. It's just slightly less impressive. And what you brought up with Lily's determination from Mega is actually really interesting, because personally, I like both of them very much. They're very well done. But I think the Lily's determination full art is a very, very good art. I just think the SAR with that sunset in the background is insane.
And sometimes the SIR is better than the full art, but sometimes the full art's better.
Yeah, and Jack, you actually talked about on our last episode how you really liked Kieran from Twilight, but
no, Kieran from Derry.
Kieran from Derry. Yeah, the Kieran from the Twilight Masquerade was very good, but another one is Kieran from Prismatic is also very good.
Yeah. Twilight's better, but yeah, it's all right.
But yeah,
I don't know, like, because it feels like the whole sunset thing is just like commonplace now with trainer SIRs between Kieran and Lily. You know, like another good one, like for the full art example, is In's plan with like the pillars behind him and stuff. That's a great full art. I still think the Ferris wheel beats it, but it's still a great full art. But yeah, I like what you said, Mike. Like, why can't we get Pokemon full arts like that with like a background or something instead of this 5-band graphics nonsense? I would be on board for that.
Yeah, and like right now with us doing the Mega stuff, where the full art is the Mega Pokemon in its full color, and then the silhouette behind it is the regular version of it. And what we had in Journey Together and Destin, where you had the trainer as the silhouette behind it, I thought that was cool. But as you said, I almost want something more. I get that I get what they're doing to have it different, but they're not doing it for the trainers. So give us.
Well, it's like what we talked about with the leaks on Mega Dream too, right? Like the bar is so high now. Like that's why when we were kind of talking about it, I said I was a little underwhelmed because I just expect so much now because of how high the bar is, and it's just it's tough, you know.
What we talked to Britt for our other show about Mega Dream, of course, but Lesley, what are your opinions on some of the Mega Dream stuff that's out? There any chase cards you see so far? Are we disappointed?
I mean, I looked at what you sent me, and I'm not a fan. Like I mean the Gengar and the Dragonite were the two that I really looked at, and I'm just not a fan. And it could be that those two Pokemon don't really draw me in as much as some of the other ones. But I feel like the Dragonite, it looks weird to me. But like the wings are up on the back of his head. And I don't know. I'm not a fan of what I've seen so far. And that may change. Because I wasn't really a fan of Inferno X when it first dropped. And then as I looked more into the set, I did find cards that I wanted and that are my chase. So that may change. I may look further into the set when they actually release more or when it gets released. And I may find one that I like.
All right. Thank you all for being here today. Hope you guys learned something as you always do. But why don't we everybody comment what set got you into collecting, or maybe it was a card. Comment what brought you into this hobby and what made you share this hobby with everybody else. We know Lesley got the Terapagos from Stellar Crown that launched her collecting career, and we all have one of those stories. So we want to see what brought you in and what keeps you going.
All right, guys. Catch you next time. Love you all.
Thank you, Lesley, for being here. And as always, keep chasing.
Lesley! Thanks for hanging out with us. I meant it when I said great to put a face to the mod. Keep rocking down there.
That's going to be I'm going to save that for the thumbnail.